All right, today we're diving deep into a tool that's basically like a geneticist for your software. Yeah, you heard me right. It analyzes the very DNA of your code to uncover all its secrets and maybe some of its hidden flaws.
So let me just ask you something. It's a question every single developer has asked themselves at some point. How healthy is your code really? And I'm not just talking about, hey, does it run? I mean, is it solid? Is it easy to maintain? And maybe most importantly, is it actually secure? Because look, here's the thing. Every project, and I mean every project, no matter how great the intentions were at the start, it picks up, well, baggage over time. We like to call it technical debt, but what it really is this tangled web of hidden complexity and risks just lurking under the surface. And it grows, silently, making every single future change harder and a lot more dangerous than the last.
But what if you could shine this incredibly powerful light into all those dark, dusty corners? Well, that's exactly the promise of a tool called Prime Architect. It's built to take all that hidden mess and make it totally visible, something you can measure, and finally, something you can actually manage.
So, how does it do this? It uses a technique called static code analysis. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the analogy here is just perfect. Think of it as a CT scan for your code base. Seriously, before you even try to run the program, it scans the source code itself. It reveals the internal structure, it points out the weak spots, and it flags any potential threats. Just like a medical scan shows a doctor exactly what's going on inside a patient.
Okay, so who is this actually for? Well, pretty much everyone on a software team, honestly. For individual developers, it gives you a way to check your own work before anyone else sees it. For team leads, it gives you objective, hard data to guide your decisions. DevOps and security folks, they can build automated safety checks right into the development pipeline. And for code reviewers, oh man, for code reviewers, it's an absolute game changer.
All right, to really get how it works, let's break down its analysis into what we can call 3 core pillars. This is how the tool gets that really deep, comprehensive look at your code's overall health. So, the first pillar is all about structural health. Instead of just feeling like a piece of code is too complex, this gives you cold, hard numbers. Take cyclomatic complexity, for instance. That measures all the possible different paths through your code. If that number is high, it means testing it properly is going to be a nightmare. Then there's cognitive complexity. This one's interesting. It measures how much mental effort it takes for a human to actually understand the code. A high score there, that means any new developer is just going to be staring at a tangled mess. And you know what that means? Future bugs are almost guaranteed. And finally, the maintainability index kind of rolls all of this up into one simple score, so you can see the health of your code at a glance.
Now that structural health is the foundation, and on top of that, we build our second pillar, security. This is huge. Prime Architect has a built-in scanner that's constantly looking for over 50 different types of vulnerabilities, and they're all mapped to industry standards like the OWASP Top 10. That essential list of the most critical security risks out there.
But it goes even deeper than that, and this part really shows how sophisticated this tool is. See, a lot of security scanners just do what's called pattern matching. Basically, they look for code that just looks suspicious. Prime Architect does that too, but it also uses something called taint analysis. What it does is it actually tracks the flow of potentially dangerous data, like something a user types in, from the moment it enters your system, which we call the source, all the way to a point where it could do some real damage, the sink. It's like the difference between just seeing a suspicious-looking person on the street versus actually following them to see what they're up to. Way more effective.
And that brings us to the third pillar, workflow integration. This is all about preventing problems before they even start, not just finding them later. Prime Architect plugs right into your CI/CD pipeline, that automated process that builds and deploys all your code. It acts like an automated bouncer, a quality gate. So a developer pushes some new code, the tool automatically runs its analysis. And if the quality score drops below a certain level you've set, bam, the build fails. That bad code gets stopped in its tracks before it ever has a chance to be deployed.
Okay, so for a tool that makes all these bold claims about quality, it's totally fair to ask, how well built is the tool itself, right? This brings us to its credentials. It's the proof that it really does practice what it preaches.
And here's the kicker. The developers of Prime Architect actually ran an independent quality assessment on their own tool. And the result? A 9.5 out of 10. That's not just them patting themselves on the back. That's a documented, certified rating of their own engineering quality. And that incredible score is backed up by just an insane amount of rigor. The project itself is validated by over 800 automated tests. This isn't just some slapped-together tool. It's a piece of mission-critical software that's been built with extreme discipline.
Yeah, a 9.5 rating like that, it doesn't just happen by accident.
It comes from a rack-solid architectural foundation. Just look at this. We're talking about things like a clean, layered architecture, zero external dependencies for the core engine, which is a huge deal, by the way. It means the tool is designed from the ground up to be incredibly robust, super reliable, and easy to maintain down the line.
This chart right here really just visualizes that commitment perfectly. So the project enforces a minimum test coverage threshold on itself, and it's a very high one, 85%. But as you can clearly see, their actual coverage is even higher than that. They don't just meet their own high standards, they exceed them. They're constantly raising the bar for themselves.
So what does this all add up to? What's the big takeaway? Well, it really points to a whole new standard in how we talk about and manage the quality of our code. It's all about shifting the entire conversation away from arguments and opinions and toward actual evidence. And this quote from the project's own documentation just says it all perfectly. Instead of a code review comment that says something vague like, this seems a little too complex, a reviewer can now say, hey, this function has a cognitive complexity of 22 and our team's agreed upon threshold is 15. See the difference? It completely transforms that subjective, sometimes tense feedback into a data-driven, objective conversation. It replaces opinions with numbers. And that leaves us with one final, and I think really important question to think about. If you were to turn a tool this powerful, this rigorous, on your own projects, what do you think it would find? What hidden risks, what complicated hotspots, and what amazing opportunities for improvement would it reveal?